The witch's eyes gleamed with a predatory glint as she gazed at Gabi, her voice dripping with seduction. "Don't you like what you're seeing, Hunter?" Gabi's expression remained cold, but a sarcastic smirk tugged at the corner of his mouth. "Honestly," he began with a dry tone, "part of me would love to rip off that disguise and reveal the truth beneath. But I'm in a bit of a rush. My friends out there are fighting for their lives, and I'm here for your head." The witch laughed, a sultry sound that echoed in the small hut. "What a waste," she murmured as she began to move closer, her eyes locked on his. She reached up as if to undo her garments, her movements slow and deliberate. As she approached, Gabi's gaze swept over her, but he remained unfazed. His hand tightened around his sword as he shifted into a fighting stance. The witch's smile faltered, a flicker of surprise crossing her face. "What kind of man wouldn't be tempted by this?" she asked, gesturing to herself. Gabi's eyes were sharp and focused as he replied without hesitation. "The kind who knows what you really are, an old hag wrapped in illusions." He swung his sword at her with precision. The witch ducked gracefully, moving closer until their faces were nearly touching. Gabi could feel her breath on his skin, and she whispered, "Open your eyes." Everything went black for Gabi. He found himself standing in a void of complete darkness, nothing but an endless expanse of black surrounding him. Suddenly, a voice called out to him, echoing through the emptiness. "Gabriel! Gabriel! Wake up!" Gabi jolted, gasping for air. When his vision cleared, he was no longer in the witch's hut. Instead, he was in a warm, familiar room. A woman stood before him, her face soft and comforting, a face that instantly put him at ease. Gabi's eyes filled with tears as he murmured, "Mom? Did you have a bad dream, son?" she asked, her voice filled with concern. Gabi broke down into sobs, clutching her tightly. To his shock, he looked down and realized he was just a 6-year-old boy again, small and vulnerable, crying in his mother's arms. His mother soothed him, then led him to the breakfast table. Gabi sat down, still shaken, and began to eat. As he did, his mother asked gently, "What kind of dream did you have?" Flashes of his life flickered through Gabi's mind. The bear, the witch, his battles, and the endless dangers he'd faced. He was confused. Was it all just a dream? Had everything he remembered, the fights, the fears, the losses, never really happened? The door creaked open, and a man entered the house, smiling broadly. "Did someone mention a witch?" the man asked with a chuckle. Gabi's eyes widened as he recognized him. "Dad?" Confusion overwhelmed Gabi as he stood up from his chair, shouting, "You died!" His parents looked at him, startled and concerned. His father stepped closer. "What do you mean, died?" In an instant, the scene shifted, and Gabi was standing in a graveyard. A small crowd of people gathered around 2 fresh graves, their tears mingling with the soft rain. A man placed a hand on Gabi's shoulder, and Gabi turned to see his uncle, Smith, who had raised him after his parents passed away. "Gabriel," his uncle said gently, "come with me, child." Gabi tried to speak, but the world shifted again. Now he was running through a dark forest, the night air cold against his skin. He could hear wolves howling behind him, their snarls growing closer. Panic surged through him as he ran faster, desperate to escape. A voice echoed in his mind, a voice he recognized. "Be brave, Gabriel." Gabi stumbled and fell, the wolves nearly upon him. But just as they closed in, a man on horseback burst through the trees, sword drawn. With a powerful swing, he decapitated the lead wolf, saving Gabi. The man dismounted, and Gabi looked up to see his mentor, Toros. "Focus, Gabi," Toros commanded, his voice firm. "Fear is just an illusion." The words echoed in Gabi's head, growing louder with each repetition. "It's just an illusion. Use all your senses." Gabi blinked, the realization dawning on him. "It's all an illusion," he murmured to himself. As the words left his lips, the darkness around him shattered like glass. Back in the witch's hut, the illusions faded. The witch, who had been so close to him that he could feel her breath, was caught off guard. Gabi didn't hesitate. With a swift movement, he swung his sword, cutting through the witch's form. The blade found its mark, and the witch let out a piercing scream. As she crumpled to the ground, the beautiful facade she had worn melted away, revealing her true form, a decrepit, wrinkled old woman, her skin decaying, clinging to her bones. Her once mesmerizing eyes were now dull and lifeless. Gabi looked down at the withered figure, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "I've always preferred the real thing," he muttered to himself, shaking his head. With the witch's death, the illusions that had plagued the swamp began to dissipate, leaving behind only the truth and the victory they had fought so hard to achieve.